every car you'll see on the road today or tomorrow or going forward for the next year owes a little bit of thanks to this thing right here. This is the Ford Model T, one of the most significant advancements in automotive engineering and development of all time. And today we're going to review it just in time for its 100th birthday. I'm feeling very lucky. Yes, hello and welcome to another classic car review. And today I've been given the privilege of getting behind the wheel of a Ford and automotive legend. Introduced in 1908, the Model T is one of the most successful and influential models ever made by Ford. Now, he had been making cars prior to this. You had your Model S, your Model N, and a plethora of other cars. But it was with the Model T that he really got into the swing of things. Yes, it was the mass assembly line, of course, something which slashed both the time it took to make a car and the cost of which to do so. In the early 1920s and late 1910s, a previous model or even an early T would have cost you around $25,000 in today's money. But by the time things got into the swing of it, say 1925, these were costing around $5,500. A dramatic decrease, that's for sure, and something that made these far more accessible to the general public. Model Ts were sold with a variety of different body styles and specs. This particular car was sold as a 1925 Model T Roadster, but as you can see behind me, there's a pickup bed on this. That's because the previous owner had an ash frame and bed installed, as well as some restoration work done underneath, making this a very, very nice example indeed. Now under here, we have what all Model Ts had, a 2.9 litre engine. Good for allegedly 42 miles an hour, though I'm not sure I'd want to be doing that in this. These were very, very reliable units, and even today, parts are pretty readily available, though obviously the mechanical setup is very different to anything we'd have now. So it's down here where we may notice something a little bit different from the average Model T. New ones from the factory were sold with a transmission brake setup, however this has had a quad brake upgrade. In the front here we have motorcycle discs and pads, and at the rear, rather randomly, we have Peugeot drums. Whatever works, I guess. It's in here where things get a little bit more complicated. We've got 3 pedals down here, however none of them are actually accelerators. In fact, the one here on the right is the foot brake. The one in the center is the reverse pedal, and the one on the left acts as a clutch and a way to engage high and low gears. The far handle is actually where you can select neutral, which is the position it's in now. All the way far back is also neutral, but then it operates as a handbrake, and all the way forward is when you're allowed to engage high gear. It's the handle here that's actually the throttle and allows you to control engine speed. And there's a further handle over here which allows you to adjust the timing on the fly. So we're going to get the Model T out on the road. I've got a basic understanding of how it operates. I've had a little bit of a practice, but don't get me wrong, I'm by no means a seasoned Model T driver. We're going to give it a go, see how we get on, and see if we can get it up to speed and into high gear and see what it can really do. So, it's not exactly refined in here. It is quite loud, it is quite bumpy, so apologies for that in advance. Now, obviously, this is quite a difficult car to drive, but I find it easier if you go into this and forget everything you've ever known about driving a car before, because it's entirely different. My feet are doing very, very little of the work here. It's actually my hands that are pretty much operating nearly everything. My hands are operating the throttle, I've got an adjuster for the timing and spark, and I can shift into high gear, also with my hand, with what looks like a handbrake if you go into this, approaching it like a normal car. Once you get into the swing of things, it's relatively simple. I'll use that term very lightly. My hands are doing 25 million things at once, it seems. I'm not going particularly fast. At the end of the day, these only ever did 40 miles an hour, but I feel I wouldn't want to go much faster than that. I'm only pootling along in low gear at the moment, and it's comfortable enough. The seating is quite nice. The ride isn't brilliant, but this is a 100-year-old car. We can't forget that, certainly. We're coming to a bit of a stop here at this junction, and that's where you do need to really be on it, because obviously you have a foot-operated brake, which does something thanks to the upgraded braking setup on this, but you also need to bring your engine speed down with the hand-operated thing. There's a lot to be thinking about, as well as just surveying the road. Even though it's a very, very slow thing, I wouldn't want it any faster because I've got enough to process as it is. Visibility isn't terrible in here. I've got side mirrors, and the previous owner of this example has weirdly installed a reversing camera, which does actually come in very, very handy. This really is a tremendously fun car to drive. You have absolutely got to be on it, but once you get the hang of it, it's great fun. It's so enjoyable, and it's unlike anything I've ever operated before. Once you get your momentum up, there's not too much to be doing. You know, you can cruise in this and not use your feet at all and just operate with, obviously, the idle speed controller on the handstill. It is a very bumpy car. I mean, we're not on the smoothest of roads. I daren't take this out on the big main roads, but you really do get thrown about a bit in here. Now, despite this having a pickup bed on it, it hasn't lost any of its roadster characteristics. We have a folding soft top up here, which is actually relatively simple to unlatch and fold back down, as I should now demonstrate. And just like that, the roof's down. It's relatively simple. There's a couple of latches here and it folds away. It's very intuitive and it really does transform the look of the car. Time for a bit of open top driving, I think. On the button, impressively so, I'd say. Definitely a balancing act there of operating the throttle nicely. We get a few hand revs in and it's on the way and it's ready to go. Increase the speed and go into high gear now. Power is far greater in the high gear, but so is noise. It's so loud in here now. What do I think of the Ford Model T? Well, it's a tremendous car in my opinion. It's such a significant car in the history of automotive culture. It really is a very, very important machine. It's one that's needlessly complicated by today's standards. Certainly, there's very little reminiscent of the modern car in here. It really is a wonderful demonstration of where we've come from. I love it. Thank you very much for watching. I do hope you enjoyed. And remember, if you have a classic car to sell, head over to www.classiccarbuyer.co.uk and we'll be sure to see if we can help you out. Thanks for watching. Bye-bye.